Hey Ballers, it's Horton here, and I got a box from the folks at Radar. Before I open it up, I want to talk about bindings a little bit. I mean, bindings are in here, obviously, right? You go back to like 1960 or 1965, we got the style of binding that is now like the standard choice for jumpers. And that product has evolved a little bit, but I mean, it kind of looks like it did in 1970. It's not terribly crazy different. And then in about 1983, 1985, there was another iteration of rubber bindings, and you see a couple of versions of that still in the market today. Still actually really good stuff. And then about that same time, we got our first hard shell bindings. And so those kind of three basic designs, the old basic rubber, the kind of 80s version of the rubber, and then the hard shell, those are all 25 plus years old. And then about 8 years ago, Radar set out to build something kind of halfway in between. They're not really rubber bindings, and they're not really hard shells. They're kind of a hybrid binding. So what we're going to find in here is the 2017 Radar Vapor Carbitex. I hope. Actually, Brooks Wilson could have sent me anything. It would be pretty funny if it wasn't. As always, my knife from Weapons Edge. Thank you, Jeff Gastra. Alright, as expected, we have the 2017, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Carbitex boot. So the earlier versions of this, starting with the RS1, and then they called them the Strata boot, and they become the Vapor boot. The shell of the liner was actually kind of it was a reinforced vinyl. It's a pleather, right? If you or your lady shop at Payless shoe store, it's kind of made out of this stuff. Or not that stuff, the previous versions. This is literally a carbon fiber that's impregnated with a some kind of poly. So it's going to be lighter, it's going to be more durable, and it's going to wrap around your foot and, in theory, give you better control. So let me just take this thing apart. So, of course, with all the Radar Vapor boots, the liners come out. We're going to talk about this separately in just a minute. So, about 2 years ago, they added the BOA. You see this on their gloves also. This is a cabling system that I haven't used yet, but in theory, this is going to give me more control over how tight the bottom of the boot is. And really, as far as fit goes and control when you're slalom skiing, this tightness is more important than the tightness up from the upper lace. And if you've been reading the website for long and paying attention to my comments about this, I'm an advocate that this top lace should be snug, but not overly tight. If you're worried about safety like I am, and to be blunt, my right ankle, my front foot, my right ankle is just, it's a fleshy bag full of broken parts. My ankle's junk. So it's important to me that should I have a strange fall, I can eject forward. And if you will, using this system, not over tighten this top lace, it's as safe as anything. It's not the only safe product on the market, but it's one of 2 or 3 that I feel good about. So there's the shell, and it's a little bit stiffer than years past. As always, when you get these boots, if you get a pair of these or a previous generation of Radar boot, please be aware that your first ride, and maybe your first 5 rides, the boots are in a break-in. They need to break in. They're going to be a little stiff. I've gone through a number of pairs of these boots over the years, so I fully expect now when I get a new pair that my onside turn, so I'm right foot forward, 2, 4, 6, I'm going to wheelie the first 2 or 3 passes like crazy. A, because I'm not used to them, and B, because they need a little break-in front to back. So, but that just takes a little bit of time, and it's well worth it. I wouldn't, that's not a bad thing. It's just, you know, it's kind of like you get a new pair of boots to walk down the street. They may not feel awesome the first day, but you're going to get a lot of use over them going forward. So this is really, this Carbitex material is interesting. Kind of digging it. I think this is going to be really durable too. So I'm stoked about that. Which brings us to the liners. They've done a really good job with an Intuition liner for a number of years. Changed the thicknesses, the sides and the tongue and the bottom a couple of times. I think they finally kind of really nailed it. Truth be known, I've liked all the versions of these boots, but some of them definitely fit a little bit better than others. And the reports on these are great. They've added on these this little plastic insert. Let me show it to you here. This little plastic insert. That's a stiffener that goes in the liner. Come on, seriously? Somebody's going to love it, and actually it's a great bit of adjustability. I personally don't think that you need a ton more stiffness in your boot. So, peel these things out, use them to mix guacamole or something. Save them. You might want them. You might try them. Me personally, no. So, the other thing about this new system is, I was talking to Brooks Wilson, who's the marketing director at Radar now, and his comment was that he knew that I wasn't excited about heat molding my liners because I had a bad experience. And I've actually heat molded other liners for other boots in years past, and there's some processes that kind of worked, but I didn't think it made a big difference. Well, Brooks really encouraged me to change my feeling about that. So we're going to heat mold these today, kind of in a different way than you probably expect, and we're going to see how that works. So there's the liners. There's a boot. We got some insoles, and that brings us to the last piece in this package. Radar calls this the sequence plate. It's a single plate for your bindings to sit on. The reason why I'm a huge advocate of this product, I think this is kind of a stroke of genius from these guys, is that when you mount two boots on here, you have, let me back up. Most other binding systems, when you move your bindings, you can adjust your feet forwards and backwards by 3/8 of an inch. You think about it, we use micrometers to set our fin to a couple thousandths of an inch. Why would you move your bindings 3/8 at a time? It's kind of ridiculous. So there's two sets of holes here, and they both line up on different holes in your ski. You kind of have to see it for it to make sense. But what it does, it basically takes you from 3/8 of an inch adjustability front and back to 3/16. Would I prefer it be much less? Yeah, but for an off-the-shelf product, this is fantastic. This is, unless you're running 39 off and you're a tweaker, 3/16 of an inch is more than ample. So I really, really advocate for the sequence plate. I've been using this for years. Like this hardware. Think this is smart. So I'm going to turn the cameras off and get out a blow dryer, joy, and we're going to see if we can heat mold some boots together. So we have our right back. Trusty wife's blow dryer. Don't tell her in case we blow it up. We don't know how it happened. And we have our liner and we have our shell. Now, the old method was to go to a snow ski shop and they would bake, I guess the method is they bake the liner alone. I mean, this is what we did with hard shells, what I've done previously. You bake the liner alone, you cram it in there. It's like baking hot. So you got two socks on, you cram your foot in, you buckle everything down, you stand there screaming in pain, and when you're done, you have a properly fitted liner. And I really haven't, I think if you go to a Radar dealer, if you go to Performance, you're in Orlando, they know what to do, they'll do it right. But if you're like me and you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're doing it alone, what Brooks Wilson suggests is the following. I'm going to take make sure it's the right liner and the right shell. Don't mix them up. And I'm going to insert the liner in here. And I'm going to take the wife's blow dryer, not on high, but on low, so I don't blow it up. I didn't ask him about this. I've got high and low, warm and hot. So I'm going to gamble, and I'm going to go hot, low. Now, the warning he gave me was if I do too much, I will literally burn up the blow dryer. Well, the wife will never know. It's the lake house. So we're going to do this. 10 minutes. It smells like doesn't smell good. Doesn't smell good. All right, it's been 10 minutes. So, you get a good look at my feet. Oh, it's hot. Oh, Brooksy, I'm gonna kill you. Oh, crap, that hurts. Oh, crap, that hurts. So I'm gonna, that's not bad. Okay, there we go. All right, so it got hot in there. And now I'm letting it mold to my foot a little bit. And it was a little toasty for like the first, couple of seconds. And then it was fine. It's not like I'm going to have blisters or anything. And when I get done, this thing's going to really be molded to my foot. So I'm going to wait another, I don't know, a minute or two to let this thing set. And that Intuition foam is going to then be molded to my foot. Okay, so I went ahead and mounted my front binding onto the sequence plate here. And it's pretty dark here in the video, so you probably can't see it. But there's a little scratch, not a scratch, there's a groove in the bottom of the plate, on the bottom of the sequence plate, to help you line it up right to left. So if you're ever kind of worried, like sometimes you look at these boots and they look like they're cockeyed, if you'll just double check and come around and look at this, you'll know it's straight. You want your front binding straight. If you're one of those people that wants to angle your front binding right to left, you know who you are, you're on your own. So I'm going to measure from this bottom lace back here 12 inches, and with a pencil, or you know, if you want it to last long, you could actually scratch into the anodize on the back of the plate. So it's a 12-inch mark. So if your bindings go at 30, you take 12 away from 30 and you get 18. So when this whole plate, including your back binding, is on your ski, you'd simply take your tape measure to the mark right here and measure to the back of the ski 18 inches, and you know your front binding is at 30. It's not really rocket science, but I promise you, if you mount both bindings on your ski and then you try to figure out how to get it exactly in the right place and get confusing, you know, you'll see people do kind of this trick where they want to stick something in here and measure to there. It's not accurate enough. So you really want to go, I really want to measure 30 inches from there to the back of the ski exactly. So this mark here lets me do that. So that's kind of my last suggestion on the Vapor Boots. I'm going to put them the rest of the way together, and I'm going to put them on my my Vapor, and next time I ski, I'm looking forward to riding my Carbitex boots. Take a ride or two to really get them broken in, but hell, it's February, so I probably won't even notice the difference, and by the time it's warm, I'll be ripping on them. So recommend you give Mr. Bill Porter at Performance Ski and Surf a call. Order yourself up some pretty new Radar boots, and let us know how you like them.